he also began to be a part of Albert King's band at one point in time, and things that Albert King did that he normally didn't do was allowed his rhythm guitar player the opportunity to take solos in his band, and he began to do that with my brother.
It's the Blues Rock Show with Pete Francis.
Welcome to the Blues Rock Show. We have a very special guest today, fresh off the release of a brand new album, the one, the only Eric Gales. He just released a tribute to LJK. And Eric, I know this album has very special meaning for you. How did this project come about?
Well, it's been on my mind for a few years to, pay some sort of homage to my brother. As of this year, he's been passed away for 23 years, and I thought it was, finally due to give a proper tribute to him, and just hit up Josh and Joe and told them, man, what my plans were, and they were all hands in and helping me, get my vision across, and I'm very very thankful to them and everybody involved that played a role in helping to make this record happen, man. And it just was basically, was birthed from, an idea that I want to do something, that lets the world know that my brother was, was a pretty significant badass player, and how could I get that point across? And from there, we just kind of dialed in and went for it.
Yeah, talk about the influence that your brother had on you.
Yeah, I mean, I come up as the youngest of five boys, and of course, my oldest brother Eugene, and several other people in my family. Uncles, cousins, grandfather, grandmother. All across the board were very significant in throughout different styles of music, blues, gospel, funk, everything that was being passed down to me. And it just was a passing down of the torch from my oldest brother Eugene to my brother Manuel Gales, as people know him as Little Jimmy King, and it just was just passing down the torch, and we were all picking up stuff that my brother was, laying on the table, turning us on to different styles and things of that nature, and we just went from there, And my brother, he had been, kind of dialing in on playing guitar before I was. I mean, there's a 10-year difference between us, so he got a start before I did. But it's just kind of intriguing how it all came about from being in one family. There was a lot of music being played in our house, um, and it's cool to be a part of that, to say the least. And my brother went his route, and I went my route. All still centered around heavy gospel and blues influence. Um, if I had to final it down to two bottom line influences, I would say blues and gospel. And he went the route of the more traditional blues, doing his own thing, finally coming across all kinds of players in the industry, Buddy Guys and BB Kings and Stevie Rays and Keith Richards and all of these miraculous influences that he encountered and also had the opportunity to play with. He went the route also of a more of a nightly gig sort of thing that was on Beale Street. Me myself, I didn't. This I was still a kid when my first record deal happened, so I wasn't old enough to be doing that. But my brother, he was had a weekly, nightly gig on several venues that was on Beale Street. And he worked his way from one end of Beale Street all the way down to where BB King's was, and periodically he would go out touring as well. Doing Chitlin circuits and doing all kinds of venues that booked him, and he I often say that he went a little more tougher route than what came to me at when my record deal came out. We had tour bus and out with King's X and things of this nature, but he was, he had a little more of a grind, if you will, and you know, it just kind of went with the territory, and I never once heard him complain about it. He just, strapped his boots on and went out there and played hard every night, and those are things that I remember very vividly about my brother. And he was a staple, particularly at the club BB King's. People knew that my brother would be there a couple of nights a week when he wasn't out touring, and that was something that I looked up to and admired about my brother. That come hell or high water, he had his flying V strapped on, giving the people the business, and that was something that I always remember about him. And he never again. I never recall him complaining about it. Not that there weren't things to complain about. I just don't recall him ever complaining about it. He just did what he had to do and went for it. So those are the type of things that I remember about my brother. And he definitely. He definitely didn't cut no shorts. He believed in playing loud and hard, and following the Albert King sort of mantra. And that was, I would say, that was one of his biggest influences. Because he also began to be a part of Albert King's band at one point in time, and things that Albert King did that he normally didn't do was allowed his rhythm guitar player the opportunity to take solos in his band. And he began to do that with my brother and let him take significant solos during his show, which was a shock to the world that Albert King was doing that, because Albert King was notoriously known for, docking you or fining you if you were too loud or you played a little bit more than he did, or something of that nature. But he didn't do that with my brother. So that let my brother knew that Albert King took a really big liking to my brother, and so that was a boost in the morale and other aspects of my brother's life that caused him to have another notch etched in the belt loop of just credits of the work that he did, and just was proud to see my brother coming up in the world as he did, with having have had to go more of a tougher route than I did.
Yeah, that is so cool. Getting to record your brother's songs and putting it out to the world. What does it mean to you to bring his music to a new generation?
It's pretty awesome, man. It's pretty awesome to come full circle and picking the songs for this project. I stayed pretty true to at least four or five of them that were very near and dear to me, that I recall playing quite often. Baby, 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 you shouldn't have left me. Those are ones that I played like a lot, and they just was feel good songs for me. And those were ones for sure that I knew that were going to be a part of this a tribute record. And the other ones were some that came from the Gales Brothers record that we all did together, particularly the ones that featured him. Um, um, and I thought excuse me, I thought that that was a great idea to incorporate those. And then the rest were others that were picked from some of the records that he did, and having the opportunity to just go through them and kind of give it an Eric Gales lens, a sort of approach, a 2025 approach. Some of them, I was, intentionally trying to trick them out a little bit and give them a more modern sort of, take on it. And others, I, tried to stay, more close to how my brother did it. And, which I don't typically do. I try to, make the songs different from what the originals are. In my opinion, why do a remake of something when a consumer can go a few rows down and buy the original version of what it was. So that just kind of been, I guess, an MO for me. When you're doing a remake of something, intentionally make it different. So it can have your DNA and your fingerprint on it. But having the opportunity to expose this to this new generation of badass players that's out there now that that may or may not have even known of who my brother is was a grand opportunity for me that I thought that was a plus. Letting this new generation, know that okay, I know who Eric Gales is, but man, I had no idea that he had a brother that played the same way and was a powerhouse as well. So that was a very very um, uh, grand, if I can use that word. That was a very grand, opportunity and purpose for me to intentionally let the world know that my brother was no joke.
And this album was produced by Joe Bonamassa and Josh Smith. They also produced Crown, which was your Grammy nominated album. How was the experience working with Joe and Josh different from Crown?
They were basically there to help the vision come across of what I saw. Me and Joe specifically had a conversation about this, and Joe was like, Eric, I know that you have a vision for this tribute record, and I'm just here to help you make it happen. And me and Josh are here to help you make it happen, and that's exactly what they did, in my opinion. I had particular uh, ideas and arrangements that I wanted to accomplish, and um, they followed along and did everything that they could, which was a fantastic job in helping me get that point across, along with everybody else that was involved with this record. And kudos and hats off to Joe and Josh, man, for another job well done on doing what they do.
Yeah, and they're both featured on a song on this album. Kingfish also guests on this album. How did that come together with Kingfish?
Well, it's been noted that Kingfish has told me several times how much of a fan of my brother that he was. And, I intentionally hit him up on that song because, I knew he was a fan of that Gales Brothers record and my brother as a whole. And I thought that went well together. And it was a bridging of the gap of the, younger generation and, I guess semi-old if you will. It's kind of tough to say, but I guess mid-range area or whatever. And and then as well as including, the iconic legend Buddy Guy, so you had, the end, the middle, and the beginning, you know what I mean? So that was kind of a meticulous idea that I subconsciously was trying to incorporate as far as the millennial incorporation, of the ages, participating in this record, and I think it turned out well. I mean, and then also on top of that, we also we also were involved with the movie Sinners. That wasn't even done on purpose. That just so happened to wind up happening. That our involvement with the movie Sinners, and then this record that incorporated us three, and then we've often toured together. So that was a plus that turned out happening for just a little nugget of for people that didn't put that together. That wasn't intentional. It just happened that way. So I'm glad that it did.
How would you describe Kingfish as a musician?
Man, that dude is killing, man. From day one of knowing, finding out about Kingfish and hitting him up, and I remember him being so surprised and so thrilled when I called and he didn't know that it was me on the phone, and I was like, man, this is Eric Gales. He's like, no, dude, you got to be shitting me, and it was crazy, man, how we met and we just kind of took on the life of that's my nephew, and and he calls me Unc, and it's just a beautiful thing to see such a vibrant, intense, very skilled, artist and musician and composer and writer and all of those things embodied in this young man. And to see him doing so well with everything that he has going on, man, is just wonderful to see. It's a lot of remnants of myself when I was that age, back then, and it's just wonderful to see that this guy is has a really nice long road ahead of him, and he's handling it quite well, if I have to say so myself. Just he's constantly putting out material. He's out there constantly touring, and he's doing a wonderful job, man. Wonderful job.
And you mentioned Buddy Guy, who also guests on the album. Buddy recently turned 89 years old. How special was it to have him guest on this album?
It was iconic, man. It was iconic. I mean, prior to recording this record, I'd been on tour with him before, so it was kind of a no-brainer. And when my wife was like, babe, I think you should hit up Buddy, and we just don't know how much time that we have, and he's actually really one of the last living legends between him and Bobby Rush. One of the last living legends that we have, and I presented the idea to him, and within seconds, he said, yeah, because there was a connection with him and my brother as well. They played together before, they know each other. And, so there was yet another intentional connection that I put together throughout this tribute to my brother. There were several other artists that I wanted to include and incorporate in this record, but I didn't want to turn this record into a fully guest engulfed record. So I just kind of picked, some that it just was. It wasn't like a favoritism toward the ones that were picked, or a non-favoritism to the ones that I didn't pick. It was just so many that I knew that were aware and were friends with my brother, and these were the ones that just kind of fell off the tree when I shook it, and it just worked out. It worked out how it worked out, and I think it turned out great, man. To have Buddy Guy on something that is not only a wonderful sounding song, but it also is a twofold entity where it's a tribute to my brother that has sentimental value to me, emotionally and mentally, and just having a something that goes on record and stamped in history that can never be taken away. That there is something that connects myself with Buddy Guy is just huge, and it's unforgettable, undeniable, and never will I ever take for granted the opportunity that it was for the opportunity to have him be a part of this record, man. It was huge.
So cool that you got Buddy to contribute to the tribute to your brother. That's really
Oh yeah,
awesome.
yeah.
You had also mentioned the movie Sinners, and you are featured in the soundtrack. Your music is in the movie. How did that come about?
Well, it came about because Ludwig, who was the director of the soundtrack for the movie, they originally, hit me up because there was Ryan Coogler had a role for me in the movie, but the day that they were filming, I wasn't available. Me and Joe was on tour in Brazil at the time, so I couldn't physically be there. So that was a bummer, and I was all depressed behind that because it didn't happen. I was like, oh, fuck, damn. So maybe like a week or two later, Ludwig hit me up again. He said, dude, I'm such a massive fan of yours. We got to figure out a way for you to be a part of this movie. And he's like, man, I'd love for you to be a part of the soundtrack. He's like, bro, would you be opposed to flying out? And I got some things I want to try, and let's see what happens. And then I'm like, shoot, are you kidding me? Like, fuck, like, let's do it. Let's make it happen, because this was my first time doing anything like this, and it turned out to be amazing. So when you get into that world of doing soundtracks for movies and stuff like that, you never know what's going to make it and what's not. You know what I mean? And I just knew that we recorded quite a bit of stuff, and I didn't know what was going to what, or what was going to be in what, or this and that. But when it came time for the premiere, and me and my wife were there, and I would have to say that 95% of the stuff that I did wound up in the movie, in some portion or some part or another, and it was just so emotional, man, and connecting with Ryan and Michael B. Jordan and Ludwig and all of the other people involved in the movie. And once I told them, man, my name is Eric Gales, and they was like, "Oh, you're Eric Gales. Oh my God, boom, boom, boom!" Like, man, you helped make this movie, and just being able to be part of, this notification to the younger generation about the blues and music in itself, and a long time told story that Buddy's been saying for a long time, how the keeping the blues alive, and through this movie was a way for that to happen. And I think it was just huge, man. I'm waiting on the next opportunity to do something like that again. So I mean, I don't want to say a once in a lifetime opportunity, because I'm looking for it to happen plenty more times. But it generated a great connection between myself and Ryan and Michael B. Jordan. And it was huge, man. It was huge. And I'm sure that Kingfish and Buddy has, their own take on their involvement in it as well. But for me, it was huge to, look up on that big IMAX screen and see the scenes happening, and hear, stuff that I contributed from music that I played, be a part of such a wonderful picture that, was, a massive hit, within a couple of weeks. I mean, it had been made over 250 million bucks or something like that, or, and still counting from what I understand. But, it was grand to be part of it.
Yeah, Sinners went number one at the box office for multiple weeks. It's
Wow.
been number one on the Billboard Blues chart for a good portion of the year. It's been
Yeah.
the number one streaming movie on HBO Max. What's your reaction just seeing how successful the film has been?
I gotta say, I just overwhelmingly blown away. Overwhelmingly blown away. I mean, and I did get a little bit of inside news about the songs from it. I mean, I was told point that the two songs that I'm particularly featured on at one point were the most played songs off of the soundtrack at some point. And I was like, yo, you got to be kidding me. And this was told to me directly from the music director of the movie. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. And they was like, no, man, we're like, people really like what you did on the movie. And I was like, really? And that was, it's just, I'm grinning from ear to ear. I mean, you probably can count every goal I got in my mouth. I mean, who wouldn't feel this way, behind, something that turned out to be such a success? I would have still felt this happy if the movie was a flop, just to have been a part of something like that. But, turned out that it wasn't. And, it was, was and still is something that goes down in history, that has a connection with Eric Gales, and I'm forever, forever grateful for.
When you got to see the movie and you saw Buddy's appearance in the movie, what was your reaction?
I was like, yo, man, finally, man, he's been captured on the big screen. I don't know if there's anything left for him to do in this life, but just be the badass that he is. And I saw it, and I immediately got emotional when I saw, somebody capturing him in the likes of a role, like a massive role, with him being, the younger cat at an older age. It was just cool to see, man, and somebody embodying that through all of the things that Buddy has went through in that song. That this was another notch in the sketch of Mount Rushmore that I think he should be a part of. At the end of the day, and it was emotional to see, and quite exhilarating at the same time.
And if there's a Sinners 2, I'm pretty sure you're game for doing that as well.
Absolutely, and this time I will make myself available for the role that I was supposed to be in. But yeah, absolutely, that's a no-brainer. Duh, duh. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely.
Eric, I wanted to ask you about another track that you've been doing live for years. You've put your spin on Beethoven's Für Elise, which people just love when you play that.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about recording that and releasing it as a single?
No, I have not. But hey, you just sparked an idea, and I may do that. You might be on to something. No, I haven't, but I mean, I guess I should. Um, I think that would be a good idea. I just have been a fan of all different styles and kinds of music, man, and that has always been a beautiful piece to me. And it just started with me challenging myself to see if I could play it on guitar one day, and kind of turned into morphing it into my, kind of into my own. Uh, and what I mean by into my own, I mean kind of doing it my way. I mean, of course, that is a millennial piece of music that people instantly recognize. Again, that goes back to me saying, if you're gonna do a remake of something, you want to kind of make it be your own way, but still kind of giving homage to, the originality of it. So, when I play that, people just kind of, you can hear the ooh and ah in the crowd when people are like, "Oh wow, I can't believe he even tackled something like that." Um, and it just goes to show, how broad the spectrum is of the many, multifaceted things that I pull from, styles and influences and genres and things of that nature that make up and embody who I am.
Yeah, I remember last summer we got to see you play that at Slash's Serpent Festival, and we had shared a clip, and it ended up getting millions of views, and people just
Yeah.
absolutely loved it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah,
Thanks
so
for
I
that.
think you might have something there, Eric, with the single.
I think you might be right, man. I think you might be right, and I'm gonna give you the credit for it.
Well, Eric, this has been a great conversation. Anything else you want to add or any final message that you want to get out for the fans?
Just man, happy release day, and everybody go check it out, man. Go check it out. The physical copies will be available October 24th. Yeah, man, I'm reaching for the skies on this, man, and I thank everybody, man, for turning the ear to this project that is a tribute to my brother. And thank you guys, man, for all the support that you guys give. And every time you mention Eric Gales, I light up. Every time you mention something that got to do with Eric Gales, I light up. And everything that y'all do that points to the gifts and talents and blessings that we as artists out here that bust our ass every single night, every single day, every single town, every single song, string, note, lyric by lyric, everything that we can do to try to bring a positive message to the people out there. And you guys bring a highlight to that means the world to us. So please don't stop. It means the world to us. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, man.
Absolutely. It's our pleasure. And go check out A Tribute to LJK, everyone. It's a fantastic album. And Eric, congrats on the success of Sinners. If you guys
Thank you,
haven't
man.
seen it, go watch that movie. Go check out the soundtrack. Eric is phenomenal on the soundtrack. Go check it out. All the best to you, Eric. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.